Tracking and successfully managing your practice's inventory is a challenging job. Without a good record-keeping system, it's impossible to know whether or not an item is needed. You'll not reach your goal of having an item just in time if poor records are kept. You will either run out of items when they're needed or have too many items in your inventory. There are certain records necessary to reach your just-in-time goal. You must keep a master inventory list. This is the complete list of items in your inventory that you need to manage. It also provides an accurate count of the amount of inventory you have on hand. Your regular physical count of your inventory is vital to keep this list up to date. Secondly, you will need an order list. There are usually two parts to your order list. The first part is the want list or wish list that was discussed earlier. However, another convenient way to notice when an item is low is to use reorder tags. Each tag is a brightly colored piece of paper attached to the inventory item that flags when you should reorder this item. Some reorder tags will also contain ordering information such as how to contact the vendor, the last time the item was ordered, or other useful information. Regardless of the information contained on the tag, it is an excellent way to spot when it's time to reorder an item. The second part of the order list consists of your own observed shortages based on your physical inventory or computer-generated report. Together with the reorder tags or want lists, you can begin to put together your order. The next thing you must have is a written list of the items that are currently on order. This is often kept in an order logbook. This book tracks orders in a chronological sequence. Your log helps others in your practice know if an item has been ordered, and it prevents duplicate orders. This written list should note the date you placed the order, the item, the quantity ordered, the quoted price, and the vendor that was used. The list may also show when to expect delivery of the items. This helps other staff members in your absence if a rush order must be placed for a depleted item or to track down a delayed order. An open order file and a closed order file should also be maintained. The open order file is where you keep the shipping slips noting the information on each shipment you received. The closed order file is where shipping slips are paired with invoices. These two files make the process so much easier for the person paying bills. It is then easy to check the accuracy of invoices and avoid paying for something you did not receive or something that is listed twice on the bill. It's also important to keep a vendor list in order to let everyone know how to reach vendors. This listing should show the contact person, phone and fax number, email address or website, and the mailing address for each vendor. The vendor list is often kept in a card file or in a computer database. Many vendor lists will also state the practice's account number, terms of payment, special discounts available, and other useful information. You may also track comments about the vendor's reliability, service, and quality with this list. There are many distributors to choose from, and they will vary slightly in their prices. One strategy for saving the most money is to shop between vendors for the best price on each purchased item. Though this may seem to be the most profitable manner of ordering, several issues should be considered. First, shopping for the best price on each item can be a very time-consuming process and must be done before each order, as prices change frequently. Secondly, distributors often reward loyal clients with better discounts and additional perks. The service you receive from a distributor is yet another consideration in selecting who you order from. When these factors are all considered, you can best determine your vendor preferences. We will now discuss the maintenance of item usage files. This is a card, file, or computer system that tracks usage per individual item. Each file should note the following items: the item's trade name, generic name, unit size, color, strength, and expiration date, when that item was last ordered and at which price, how much of that item was ordered, which vendor was used, the retail price used for sale to the client and how this is calculated, the normal reorder point for that item, the average quantity ordered, and the location that item is stored in the hospital. This file, most importantly, allows you to readily evaluate each item in your inventory for price changes and for evaluating the turnover of that item. A final list that some practices utilize is an expired items list. This notes items that will expire in the near future and should be returned, replaced, used, or removed from the inventory. Your hospital's size will determine the importance of keeping a separate list to track these items. You would pick up items to be included on this list during your weekly physical count for ordering or a review of your computer reports. All of the lists that were just discussed should be kept and maintained in the same general area or even in the same notebook. Accurate and consistent record keeping will help the entire staff stay well informed as to the status of the hospital's inventory. The first thing to measure and review on a monthly basis is the inventory cost as a percent of the practice's income. This is an excellent screening test to assess how well your practice is managing inventory costs. If you only use one measure, this is the easiest one to use. Your inventory expenses for drugs and supplies should not exceed 12 to 15% of your practice's total income. The next measurable item is the inventory turnover, or IT. This tabulates the average number of times in a year that your inventory is sold or used and replaced with new items. The formula to calculate inventory turnover is as follows. All figures are expressed in dollars. Take the total expense for drugs and supplies for the year and place this figure in the numerator of your equation. Make sure that you do a physical count of your inventory at the beginning of each year. Use this physical count and your records of how much you paid for each item to determine a value for your entire inventory at the start of the year and at the end of the year. Average these two values to create the number for the denominator of your equation. Ideally, you want to turn over your inventory 8 to 12 times a year. The best scenario is to have sold your inventory before you even had to pay for it. Then you get the use of the vendor's capital and create a larger profit on your inventory investment. Practices normally have a turnover of 4 to 8 times a year. It is not practical to measure turnovers on individual items, but it is still useful to measure this at least once a year for your entire inventory. If you're not turning your inventory 4 to 8 times a year, there is likely too much of the practice's money being tied up in inventory. The third item to monitor is the reorder point for each item. This is the amount of an item you want to keep on hand to minimize the chances that you will not run out. A good rule of thumb is to maintain at least 3 times the amount of product used within the time period between orders. If you place your orders weekly, then your reorder point would be the amount of the item that would typically be used in 3 weeks. This would be adjusted for items that are hard to get, frequently backordered, or are subject to high demand. The last item to monitor and adjust periodically is the reorder quantity. This is the amount that should be ordered when the reorder point is reached. Generally, you want to order a 1-month supply. This can be adjusted to fit your practice's needs by looking at your usage file for the item. Buying large volumes of product can appear to save money, but unless the savings is substantial, money that could be working to generate a profit elsewhere in the practice sits idle on the shelf. Maintaining the proper inventory quantities will assure wise usage of the practice's cash assets and ensure what is perhaps most important, that there will be product on the shelf when your patients need it.